In recent news, Otto Warmbier, a student at the University of Virginia who was captured and then detained long-term in North Korea for almost a year and a half, died just days after he returned home to the United States in a coma, which is what his parents announced to the public. The North Koreans took him into custody after he allegedly took a propaganda poster and tried to stuff it in his luggage to take back home. 22-year-old Warmbier had been medically evacuated last week and was being treated for his injuries at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. His parents, Fred and Cindy, didn't go into any specifics on the cause of his death, but have their suspicions. They have also confidently voiced in a written statement that North Korea is definitely responsible for what happened. They're completely to blame. Their son was arrested in January 2016 at the end of a brief tourist visit to the country. So what do you think about this whole situation? Like, do you think the North Koreans were right to do what they did based on these assumptions, or what?
To be completely honest, I think that this whole situation is extremely tragic. I don't think that what he had to go through was any sort of reasonable punishment for what he was accused of.
Right.
The camera footage, North Korea, that allegedly showed him stealing was incredibly shady and questionable.
Very low quality, for sure.
Yeah, and I believe that this shouldn't be shrugged off. He was tortured and murdered, and, now his parents have to go through life without their son. I guess, speaking of his parents, have you heard any recent releases on the status of them, or?
Well, I do have. They put out an interview talking about it. They actually didn't open up at first too much. It was one of those things, it was like too soon for it. And so they actually have a recent interview for that, and I'll roll that real quick.
Cindy and I knew the day we met Otto at the airport that we were gonna share our experience. The horribleness of what North Korea did to him was so devastating to our family that we experienced a shock that I have never experienced in my life. As a family, we needed to come together and process this as best we could. And over the past 3 months, we've started the grief process. My kids, Austin and Greta, are amazing. And now we see North Korea with the tensions claiming to be a victim, and they're claiming that the world is picking on them. And we're here to tell you, as witnesses to the terror of their regime, North Korea is not, they intentionally injured Otto. I'll tell you what it was like when we met Otto at the airport. We were in a waiting room, and the plane comes near to where we are. The medical team agrees they'll go out and meet Otto first, and then they come down 5 or 7 minutes later, and it's time for the family to go up and meet him. And so we walked out to the plane. The engines are whining. It's myself, Cindy, Austin, and Greta. We climb the stairs to meet with Otto. Halfway up the stairs, we hear this loud, guttural, howling, inhuman sound. We don't know what it is. We continue up the steps. We get to the top of the steps, and we look across in the airplane, and Otto is laying on a stretcher. He's strapped to the stretcher, and he's moving around and jerking violently, making these howling, inhuman sounds.
So as you heard there, that's pretty tragic. That dude was really messed up when he came back. Obviously, this has torn a family apart. There's been some negative effects. I mean, these people have to go on living without their son. So more lives are affected than just his. And the fact that they're doing this on the basis of some video evidence that is not even that reliable is definitely interesting. But yeah, that's the story of Otto Warmbier. Tragically passed away. And yeah, something should definitely be done, even though this regime seems to get away with whatever they want. But yeah, that'll end this podcast for today. Signing off.